Really good news for the 49ers at the final practice before this showdown against Seattle. No one has been ruled out, and that includes Trent Williams and Keion White, the defensive lineman who was back out on the practice field after 2 missed days. So that means that the 49ers can officially enter game mode. Yes, the black helmets, black uniforms, 49ers rivalry jerseys will be making their debut here against the Seattle Seahawks, who, by the way, will be missing their starting left tackle, Charles Cross. Josh Jones is the backup left tackle, is questionable for Seattle. It sounds like he's going to play, so Seattle probably is going to be on their left tackle too. The 49ers, meanwhile, Trent Williams did not practice all week. I did have a chance to talk to him briefly in the locker room today. He was in the blue injury tent for a while on Sunday after that first pick six where he suffered the first soft tissue injury of his career. And Trent said that most of the time spent in the blue injury tent was just him cursing, frustrated that he got hurt and probably wouldn't be able to re-enter the game. But Trent has improved considerably over the course of this week, and even if he can't go, the 49ers feel that they're going to be in good hands at left tackle because Austin Pleasance played so solidly for this team on Sunday against the Bears. Pleasance, he would actually be a size upgrade over Trent Williams. You can tell here how big he is. He's 6'7", 330. Trent Williams only at about 6'5", 320. Only about 6'5", 320. But Pleasance is a big body. He's developed behind the scenes. Used to be a pizza delivery guy while he was fighting his way up the football ladder. Has been on 5 practice squads, now on the 49ers active roster, and a chance to make some money for Austin Pleasance if he does play. Remember back in 2021, the 49ers faced a similar situation where they entered the final week against the Rams, and they had a win to make it in. But Trent Williams was dealing with an elbow injury, and Trent Williams couldn't go in that final game against the Rams. The 49ers were underdogs as well, and Colton McKivitz, a young lineman in his second year, played for Trent Williams at left tackle against a great Rams defensive front that featured Aaron Donald, and the 49ers got the job done. They won. Now, 3 weeks after that, in the NFC Championship game, Trent Williams, he'd suffered a high ankle sprain at Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. He actually pushed through and was able to play, but the 49ers lost that game. And Trent, to this day, I think he regrets trying to play in that NFC Championship game. He believes that Colton McKivitz, because Colton was healthy, would have done a better job than he did. I think Trent gave up 5 or 6 pressures against the Rams in that title game. So it just goes to show you that it's really important to find the balance and play the player who's going to be able to give you the best performance. And sometimes that's not the walking Hall of Famer. Sometimes that is the reserve who is healthy. And Kyle Shanahan went through the calculus for the 49ers at his press conference today.
I mean, it needs to be possible based off the doctors, and then it's got to be more on what Trent tells me. I mean, I definitely don't want to lose any players for the following week, knowing we're in the playoffs. But, I mean, I also look at when you're playing to play one less playoff game, I mean, you can look at that as a playoff game. I mean, I know the season's not over if we lose, but you still got to go play a game the next week on the road if you lose, and you can completely avoid that by winning. So I see this as a playoff game too. So I don't look at it as it's maybe that you'd lose him, you won't have him next week. I look at it as simple as if the doctors okay it and Trent believes he can do it and get through it, and there's no decision on my part. We'll definitely have him up.
So you heard Kyle Shanahan say that the 49ers are treating this as a playoff game. That's what I've been saying all week. Yeah, they won't be eliminated if they lose, but they can notch a playoff win through a victory here at Levi Stadium. They wouldn't have to play in that wild card round. It would be straight on to the divisional round, and then every single game for the rest of this season would be here at Levi's, including the Super Bowl. So the 49ers will wait with bated breath. Maybe they take this all the way up until game time with Trent Williams. Keion White returning to practice today, even though it was in a limited capacity. He was watching a lot of the drills. He was in his helmet. He was in uniform, and that's a big deal because the 49ers need all the pass rushing help that they can get. Sam Darnold, much better when he isn't pressured, just like most quarterbacks, but the case with Sam, he's got a reputation to shed. He struggled in big games, and if the 49ers can put some pressure on him, they can potentially force some turnovers. Upton Stout technically remains on the 49ers injury report, but the rookie nickelback at practice today without a blue non-contact jersey, which means he's progressing through the concussion protocol. He's not officially cleared through it yet, but it does look good for an Upton Stout return to action for the 49ers on Saturday night. George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall, both officially questionable, but I think we know that both of those guys are going to play. If Jawan Jennings has another touchdown catch for the 49ers, he'll become the first San Francisco receiver since Terrell Owens in 2002 to hit double digits on the touchdown passes in a single season. He's got 9 right now, and it's hard to believe that it's been almost 25 years. Happy New Year, by the way. Hard to believe it's been almost 25 years since San Francisco has had somebody hit the double digits. And, speaking of Jawan, it's been quite the journey this year. Obviously, a contract dispute at the start of everything, and then Jawan returned. He got some extra incentive money, but it was just a pot sweetener. It wasn't a new contract. There seemed to be some frustration from Jawan Jennings early this season. He did suffer a bunch of broken ribs, I think 5 or 6 broken ribs when he caught that 2-point conversion against Jacksonville in week 4. Then week 6 against Tampa Bay, Jawan Jennings and Kyle Shanahan got into a yelling match on the sideline toward the end of the first half. And after that game, Jawan divulged that he was playing with several broken ribs. Anyway, Kyle Shanahan has been reluctant to talk about that yelling match between him and Jawan Jennings up until now. Obviously, things going much better for Jawan. He's hit some contract escalators, is healthy, is blocking very well downfield, and Kyle Shanahan did finally reflect on that yelling match with Jawan Jennings on the sideline in Tampa Bay.
It's just what people are close to do. He was competitive. He was frustrated he didn't get the ball, and I was frustrated that he was frustrated. So we've been with each other long enough to know that'll work out. Let's quit making a big deal about it. And but we got a little heated argument on the sidelines. Got a lot better at halftime, and then we really made up the next day. And we haven't had any arguments since. But I actually think that was a good argument, where sometimes you got to blow things up a little bit for things to get better. And I think that was a really good interaction that has only led to positives ever since then. I ended up being healthy. You don't always know. I mean, it's sometimes, all you guys got to do is watch how Jawan plays. You guys know how competitive he is. And that takes a certain mindset to get to that type of level. Like Jawan wants the ball every play. Jawan's never been a tough guy to deal with in that way. He just that's where he gets his mind to play. And he wanted to help us win, and he hadn't got it in the first half. And I probably could have done a better job ignoring it and staying away instead of joining in and fighting with them. It was a little immature of myself, but there was things that were bothering me. But when you know someone and they know you too, you can usually get through that stuff. And I think we both, after it, realized that was so unnecessary. We were both just worked up and competitive, and I think intentions are a big thing, and I think we both know each other, and we realized that after it, and I think it helped us.
So some commendable humility there from Kyle Shanahan, saying, it might have been a little immature on my part, but he also recognizes that what happened with Jawan Jennings had ultimately positive result. Sometimes you've got to blow it all up to build it back and make it better. And now I wonder, when will Jawan Jennings get his extension from the 49ers? I think that they're going to want to get this done before he hits free agency. Now the question is, will Jawan want to get this done before free agency starts in March? But he's obviously an invaluable piece of this team. A huge part of where the 49ers are right now is the run game is clicking. at a much better level than it was early in the season. And early in the season, they weren't getting the same type of blocking that they're getting from their receivers right now. And Jawan Jennings has to be the ringleader of that. This game against Seattle, 4 months removed from the week 1 game against Seattle, which the 49ers won 17-13. And, I want to talk about a few things because everybody mentions that the 49ers don't have Nick Bosa and Fred Warner anymore. And that's true. But the 49ers also don't have Jake Moody anymore. And he missed 2 field goals in that week 1 win over the Seattle Seahawks. So, if you just look at the fact that they've got Eddie Pinheiro and the league's top special teams now, if they had Eddie back in week 1, I think it's fair to say the 49ers might have won that game 23-13 by 10 points. On top of that, George Kittle was hurt after the first drive in that game, so the 49ers had to finish it with one of their most important offensive pieces, and obviously they didn't run the football well. I think that's to be expected when Kittle wasn't in there. Things are going to be different for the 49ers offensively and on special teams in this game against Seattle. So whereas you might have lost Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and Keion Williams on the defensive side, and that's obviously going to be a big question for the 49ers against Sam Darnold, you have gained amazing special teams efficiency. You have gained Kittle on the offensive side, and I just think that they're gelling better when it comes to the run game. And is it going to be enough to get the 49ers into the high 20s in this game? Will it be raining? That's another question because that's probably going to determine the point count in this football game. But you always have to look at things in totality. How's the complementary equation going to work for the 49ers? And I would say that had they been where they are now on offense and special teams back in week 1, they could have put up 30 points that day against the Seattle Seahawks. And, that just really translates into what we discuss with the 49ers and how that offense might perform against Seattle. It's elite offense against elite defense coming up on Saturday night. Big game, and it should start to remind you of some of the very big games that the 49ers have played in their franchise's history. So many of those great games at Candlestick, which to date has still hosted the most playoff games of any stadium in NFL history. Levi's Stadium, well, this technically is not a playoff game, but it has the effect of one. It can have the effect of one. And if the 49ers win on Saturday night, then Levi's is going to host at least one more playoff game. Then you could say 2 more playoff games if they can also win a divisional round. And of course, the Super Bowl will be here. So it's getting very real. 49ers trying to make this 2025, now 2026 season, Happy New Year, truly legendary.